republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome all of you to our April regular board meeting. Do you want to introduce our visitors?
My name is Jeff, your name, certainly our union officials, kiddos, good to see them.
Welcome.
Welcome, everybody.
Okay, is there any public comment? Any public comment? Okay, now we're down to the consent agenda. I have a motion to accept the consent agenda that was in our packet. Right? Is there a second? Okay. Lisa? Okay. Is there any discussion? Okay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, any correspondence?
The only correspondence I received was from Moderator Denbeck of the RTM, asking the Board of Ed to appoint a representative to an RTM ad hoc committee to evaluate the community use of schools arrangements. And I know that's under new business, but I just wanted to know if you see that.
I have just one correspondence. We received a nice thank you note from Kathy Valone for the flowers that we sent to her mother passed away. Okay, now we're down to superintendent's report.
Sure. Great presentation coming up tonight. You had asked a while ago, midwinter, to hear more about our Teacher Leadership Academy, which was an endeavor that we went forward with this year. One of the things that I said when I came to Waterford was that an investment in our staff is an investment in our students, and it's something that we as a district continue to believe. So we had a cohort of about 17 teachers go through a targeted professional development experience this year on teacher leadership, and you're going to hear more about that tonight. Craig's going to introduce the folks that are here and give a little more background, but it's something that I'm excited about and passionate about, and I know the people involved certainly were.
Thank you. So as Tom mentioned, this has been an opportunity that CAS, the Connecticut Association of Schools, has offered for several years. And really, Tom was instrumental in bringing this idea to Waterford, since it was highly successful in the previous district. As Tom mentioned, we did have 17 teachers in the first cohort. And I say the first because we've already advertised based upon the success of this for next year. You can see the faculty is represented across all 5 schools. So, why are we doing this? Well, everyone in our organization is a leader in some respect. And if the faculty really understands the system and how they're connected and why we're moving forward, then the faculty can better support our system and work in concert. So that's the overall reason you can kind of see others. So what were we looking for? We were looking for a minimum of 12 people. The CAS could really comfortably educate up to 20. So we've had kind of the high end of that, which is a testament to the desire for our teachers to know more. And we've had, obviously, we were marketing this is not a administrative prep program. What is it? It's really just for current teacher leaders, certainly people who may want to aspire, but really just grow in their own professional practice and personal growth around our organization. So the selection process, we did have qualifications. We did have to fill out an application. We did have to, and it was reviewed, put down references as well, and people had to write references. So we got the applications in, we reviewed them, and the professional development, the participants read 2 books during this time. The topics, there were 5 really workshop sessions. The topics really were around mission and vision, culture and climate, change leadership, instructional leadership, and organizational management. they mentioned, it was a 5-day professional development where we led us through article discussions. We did exchange ideas. We did case studies, leadership inventory, and then as a way to give back to the district, each person or group, a team of 2, constructed a leadership project. And at your place, you will see that, and also their theories of action. So you should see these 2 documents at your place table. The theory of action, each teacher had to compose their own. And this is something that we ask our administrators to do and to refine annually during our August retreat. And it's really, what is their beliefs? If we do this, this, and this, what's our hypothesis? Then we think this will happen. And the next document you'll see is each of the 17 teachers, what projects they've done this year in our district. And while we could make this presentation probably 2 hours in length, we wanted to fit it within a board meeting. So we have representatives from each level to give you a little more in-depth information, because you don't want to hear all this from me. You want to hear it from the practitioners themselves. And so we have a speaker at our elementary level, Linda Brelli, who will start. And then we'll follow up with middle school and high school teachers. In our audience, we also have other members of the cohort as well. So, to metaphorically
Thank you. I had a great experience in the Leadership Academy. I was working with Robin McKinney, our elementary technology coach. We both have a passion for including parents with what the children are doing. So our theory of action is based on if we engage the parents, then student achievement will increase. So we did a various number of evening programs. We worked with our staff in our building, and we had one program with the parents and the kids. And we just had a great turnout and a great response to everything that we did. And I personally saw an improvement in my parent participation in my classroom with my students and achievement in my class as well. So personally, I can say from my own students, I know for a fact it had a very positive effect on student outcome. And it's a great experience, and it was well worth the time that we spent the 5 days together and doing all the assignments outside, being able to meet with various people from different levels to talk about what we're learning, what our leadership strengths and weaknesses are, and what our principals are doing, and how they're implementing change in our classrooms to make Waterford schools the best schools that they can be. It was just a wonderful experience, and I think every teacher should be a part of this, even if they don't want to be in administration, because it's very positive education.
Thank you. And so, a representative from the middle school and part of the cohort, Kelly Barnes.
Hi, everybody. I definitely echo all of Linda's thoughts. I thought it was very well worth the experience, the 5 days out, and you learned a lot, got to work with great people, and more importantly, hear everybody's ideas about what they had going on. So it was really kind of cool to mesh all that. I did my leadership project on differentiation and math achievement. So you may have seen Craig put up here before about, one of the things of why you're doing this. And one of the things that I really focused on was math achievement and modeling how we can improve that through differentiation in a classroom. So I modeled how to transition a traditional learning environment into a completely differentiated learning environment. You've heard these buzzwords, I'm sure, through different avenues in the school. We all talk about college and career readiness. We talk about leadership, 21st century skills, communication, mastery of content. And, when you think about these things, well, what is college and career ready right now? So I decided to use a program called Khan Academy, which is online learning. And you you very quickly kind of notice how that can prepare children for college and career. There's a lot of online classes right now. A lot of career opportunities are done online. There's webinars, there's learning, there's reading. All of that is done through Khan Academy as well. If you talk about 21st century skills, think about the way that you'll learn something nowadays. Everybody goes right to the internet, so teaching kids how to use that effectively is something. Who owns the learning? If students are really constructing meaning, working together, they're problem solving, they're collaborating, they're communicating with one another in a classroom. That's what I really figured out when I started to differentiate for my kids. Growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. You heard Craig also talk about the why, the research base. There's a lot of work on this kids feeling like they have a certain amount of knowledge and that's it, and they're capped out at that knowledge. And really working at them with saying, no, you can do this. You can do anything. You can learn anything. So all of this kind of comes back to not only are we working as Waterford educators to teach our children content, but we're also working on making them become lifelong learners and teaching them how to learn and be active participants in their learning. Yes. And this is just one way that you can differentiate using the tool that I chose to use. And as you can see, this is just a typical learner. They all look very similar to this. These are two from the same topic. And where this child needed to only do 6 questions total, and this child needed to do 10 questions in order to master that content. So we're taking that shift from only learning, kids that are saying, I'm a D student or I'm a C student, and saying, no, you're going to be a 100% student and you're going to learn it and you're going to get it, so we can build the foundation to bring you and send you right up to Mr. Joe Bassett and his high school math.
What a segue.
I planned that.
As introduced.
And then and that's just, sorry, I forgot that I had the other slide. And then that's just another example of data that you get from there, which shows you how much time kids are spending, what they're spending their time on. Sorry.
So as Kelly introduced, Bill Bassett is one of our cohort members from the high school.
Some of the big takeaways, besides the project, which I can talk about in just a moment, was really learning from a lot of different leaders. I was fortunate to talk to some school leaders in my building who aren't necessarily evaluators or principals, vice principals, having conversations with and hearing from some of those vice principals about what it means to work with adults. I think most teachers in this town are pretty good at working with kids. They can sit around, they can do this. But when you actually have to take a group of adults and move them, sometimes they kick and scream louder than kids do. So just learning about the people you work with and the different personality types and how you can work a group and move a group forward and have them buy into an idea was a valuable piece of information I took away to help me and myself working with others. Because looking at change, I feel that a lot of teachers can change within the 4 walls of the classroom. But thinking about education outside of the 4 walls of just your classroom is something that I think a lot of teachers don't really think about, but then once you get into it, it is very, very beneficial. So my project kind of came down to intervention. There's an intervention block that's run at the high school every day. There's a math teacher that does either the A day or the B day. And there was a lot of discussion about how you do intervention. What's the best way? And I've talked to my colleagues. I'm very fortunate to be married to one of the best interventionists in town. So we had conversations about that at home. And just having conversations and just from everything that I was hearing and talking about it. And so I wanted to kind of put a plan together on how I wanted to shape intervention, because that was the high school looked to me in the springtime to work intervention with kids in math. And it's different. Kids who struggle with math in the elementary school look a lot different than kids who struggle with math in the high school. So anything that we try to do, you can't just rush across the entire district. You have to kind of piecemeal it for each level. And so with myself, the biggest thing is I wanted to help kids with their math, but not in a vacuum. Intervention is trying to plug those holes. But you just can't be plugging random holes here and there where the kids don't see the value. Like, how is this going to help me on my math test next week? And so we try to implement the technology that we have in the district, but I've been working on some of my geometry classes to actually help individually help this kid with this subskill, this subskill, this subskill, in connection with what they're doing in their current math class. And through kind of this conversation, I've received emails from teachers at the middle school, teachers at the elementary school saying, oh, that sounds pretty good, I like that. And so in March, the well talked about canceled professors all of that. I had this great video working with different teachers from different levels, having that conversation, facilitating that conversation about, maybe some tricks that I use to really help utilize the technology that we already have here. Not trying to reinvent the wheel, but this is what we have in the district to help kids, intervene, to help fill their holes in math. Again, but not in the backwards. Kind of, trying to fill, this is what I could use so that's doing, what they're doing. Some of the big takeaways that I have.
Thank you. So, while everyone had great feedback, there's a few others, and two of the three next slides we have teachers from that are in the audience. So, Matt Roberts, high school teacher, gave us some feedback. And then Erica Baumgartner, who's in the audience tonight, has given us some other feedback. And finally, Julie D'Agnasio, who's also in the audience tonight, has provided feedback. And this is just a sampling. Everyone who went through this program is simply
Thank you for all the extra time you put in everything, and it's just going to benefit. It's benefiting you, but it's going to benefit the students. And I love, Linda, I love your idea of getting parents involved. And I wonder if we could do it at all levels rather than just elementary, because I think it's really important for parents to be involved. But thank you again for all your hard work. Does any other board member have any questions or comments?
I agree with part of it, and I've seen with my own children that middle school it tapers off, and by high school it's I go in and there's a small handful and that's it, so that was something interesting to kind of work.
Great idea. A lot of hard work.
Thank you for your hard work.
Thank you.
for presenting tonight. Look forward to sharing next year's cohort with you next spring as they progress through the leadership academy next year.
We're looking forward to it too.
And you were going to hold us before you.
Two other items of note. I want to thank Oshkogachi School for the wonderful artwork in the conference room in the hallway. It was a pleasure to see the parents trickling throughout the month with their child and saying, "Sorry, Mom." So it's always a good time. Just some news out of the high school. Connecticut had 13 National Merit Scholars named this past month. Waterford had 2 of those 13, which is quite impressive. There's only one other district in the state that had 2 National Merit Scholars, so we congratulate Nathaniel Rowe and Kayla Mathowitz from the high school. And these students are eligible for scholarships of up to $10,000. So we are very proud of that accomplishment, both for them and I think it's values about our district. I know Pat wouldn't want me to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. We had the opportunity to celebrate with Pat on Tuesday night as Mrs. Fedor was named the Connecticut PTA Most Outstanding Elementary Principal for this year. 20 Waterford folks made the drive down to Milford on Tuesday night in a horrific storm. Honor Pat, so congratulations once again.
I bet it was.
Just another noted staff accomplishment. Mr. Michael Connor at the high school has been selected to receive the Instructor Award for Excellence in Course Instruction for Marine Science from UConn's Early College Experience Program. As we know, we're extremely proud of our Marine Science program at the high school, and obviously it's even better when somebody else recognizes how great the program is. So we congratulate Mr. O'Connor. Wanted to provide a brief strategic plan update. I know some of you serve on that committee. We will meet as a whole committee once again on May 11th. I know some people in the audience are also part of that committee. To finalize our work thus far, we've been able to identify our gaps and areas of opportunity as well as some initial goal development. We'll be finalizing those goals and writing strategies on May 30th, 31st, and June 6th. And our goal is to have a draft plan to the board and to the district as a whole by the end of June. So that is moving along. Want to alert you to Clark Lane Middle School and Waterford High School have been asked to join and have accepted an opportunity to join what's called the League of Innovative Schools. It's a regional professional learning community of schools coordinated by the New England Secondary Schools Consortium. It's really around a network of professional development experiences of professionals sharing innovative practices across New England. And it goes towards strengthening programs, exchanging professional expertise, and creating better learning opportunities for their students. So we look forward to Clark Lane and Waterford High being involved in that work next year. It aligns well with a team that Waterford High School has been sending to some workshops on mastery-based learning. We actually had one today. Mr. Powers, myself, and a team from the high school attended our fourth meeting of the year today at CAS as part of our work with the Great Schools Partnership, which runs or was involved with the League of Innovative Schools around mastery-based learning and looking at learning from a competency standpoint. So we look forward to continuing that work. At this time, there is not. There's no membership fee at this time. There's talk of it. We'll see what that looks like. We had two great parent nights in the district. We just talked about that at the elementary level. Great Neck hosted a social media night for parents, specifically targeting K-5 parents. We know the challenges of social media are great. And over 100, Mrs. Theodore? 160.
Wow.
All three elementary school parents participated. And the other event was Mothers Against Drunk Driving held a parent night at Waterford High last night. You might recall we hosted a student event in December with MAD. We look forward to continuing our partnership with MAD around important issues. You might have saw some press on Clark Lane in the London Day. Their Rubik's Cube Cohort had the opportunity to display their work to the Women Huskies team, so great opportunity for them. A couple of events coming up. Waterford High will host the Morality Chaperone next weekend, May 4th through the 6th. We encourage you to attend that show, so it's great for students. Another issue of the connection, district newsletter was just released, so that's out in the community and in our parent community. Continue to get very positive feedback on that publication. Next month I'll present kind of an annual review of the district's work, kind of an end-of-the-year report. We were talking about that, but we're into May as of Monday, so I look forward to sharing kind of an end-of-the-year review of our work as a district next month. And certainly next Thursday, May 4th, the Board of Education will present their budget at the RTS. So, update on that process. Those are the major pieces of the superintendent's report.
Thank you. Okay, committee, another report? Does anybody have a committee report? No, I've been used to this year report. Camp Dash is filling up fast. They have some great projects that they're going to do during the summer. Week by week, they have a different theme. Also, this year's theme is going to be superheroes. And they take anywhere from, they're also going to, I think they had it last year too, they have pre-K and then elementary school students that can attend. So. And it's housed at Great Neck School. And the children have a great time, and the parents don't have to pay an awful lot of money for it. It's very educational, too. And we're going to be working with the summer school program. So those students that are going to summer school can go to Camp Dash after when they get out. So that's a win-win situation, too. We had a school building committee meeting, and it got done in like 5 minutes. Faster than we just had to approve the new curtain for the field house. And we only have site work left to do, and then we turn the project over to the town or everybody to keep everybody up to date on what we're up to. And I think that's it for me. Okay, now we're under new business. Discussion and possible action for proposed candidate for the new principal at Great Neck School.
Well, it's my pleasure to speak about the process and ultimately about the candidate that I'm recommending to the board. I will talk about what I believe is to be a rigorous process, and then we'll get into talking about our candidate who's obviously here tonight, Billy Shea. We held 4 rounds of interviews over the course of March and April. We started this process with 64 applicants, so a great response, and I think it speaks volumes about our district that many people out there want to work here. We screened all 64 applications, Mr. Powers, Mrs. Malone, and myself. In the first round, screening round, we interviewed 15 candidates. We whittled that down and interviewed 6 candidates in the next round, which was comprised of a school-based committee. And in the third round, with our administrative team, we interviewed 2 candidates, and candidates completed a performance task as well. And then 1 finalist met with the board earlier this week. We involved many stakeholders in this process. We did a comprehensive community survey to the parent and greater Great Neck community, comprehensive staff survey with nearly all staff responding to that. The interviews included Great Neck teachers, a non-certified staff member, parent and PTA representation, certainly central office administration, the entire administrative team of the district, and certainly board members who not only met with finalists but served on earlier rounds. So it was a process that required a lot of input, and it's these types of processes that lead to the best candidates emerging. With your permission, I'll introduce the candidate. So the recommended candidate is Ms. Billy Shea. Billy Shea is a very successful principal at Stanton School for the Norwich Public Schools and has been for the last 4 years. Prior to serving the role of principal, has served as an administrative literacy specialist, a K-8 instructional specialist, a grade 6 language arts teacher, a grade 5 teacher, a literacy interventionist, and a summer academy administrator. Prior to her career in education, she had a very successful private sector career, including roles as a writer, curriculum and staff development specialist, as well as being a co-owner, market analyst, and director of research and reporting for her own IT research company. We'd like to share a few highlights from her work as principal at Stanton School in Norwich, which has been nothing short of impressive. She's elevated the culture and climate of her school through shared leadership, shared decision-making, and a focus on teamwork with her staff. She's decreased chronic absenteeism from 11% in 2012 to just under 4.5% here in 2017. No small feat in a high-needs school. She's advocated for a major curriculum shift to a workshop model, which aligns well with our work here in Waterford. She has presented eloquently to the State Department of Education, district staff, Board of Ed, and community members. She's led the transformation and instructional data teams in her school. She served as a member of district-wide committees, including the district leadership team, assessment committee, SRBI steering committee, safety and security team, of which she is a co-chair, the English language arts curriculum writing team, professional development and evaluation committee, and the district team committee. Probably most impressive, and it sums up not only her work, and she would give her staff the most credit, is moving her school from a Category 5 state network school to a Category 2 school in the state's most recent accountability results, which is no small feat. We're fortunate to have such a qualified candidate. I'd like to share just a few comments from references that Mr. Powers and I called. Billy Shea is one of my strongest principals. She has brought her staff together. She's a culture and climate builder. She has a mature, shared leadership style and has developed teacher leadership across her school. I send other principals to her school to see her team in action. She has a "we are going to do this together" attitude. She has built a solid support system for students and is whole child centered. She has good links to the community at large. I trust her. She's organized, professional, very knowledgeable, supports her staff, has high expectations for herself, strong knowledge of curriculum instruction, blended learning, data, and assessment, and fosters a strong collaborative culture focusing on positive outcomes. She's a wonderful educator and an outstanding person. Personable to adults, approachable, well-liked, strong in curriculum and instruction. She walks the walk. She is a caring and dedicated professional. So I'm thrilled to recommend Billy Shea to the board for your consideration.
Okay, someone like to make a motion?
I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, Marcia, is there a second? Lisa?
Well, yeah, sure.
You want me to read it?
Yeah, read it.
I'm going to read it first.
I'm sorry. That the Waterford Board of Education approves Billy Shea as principal of Great Neck Elementary School effective July 1st, 2017.
Now is there a second?
I will second that.
Any discussion? I'd just like to welcome you. We were very impressed with your resume, and it was a very nice meeting you the other evening. Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, motion carried unanimously. Welcome to Waterford. Would you like to say something? Okay.
I just want to say thank you. There was a lot, and thank you very much for that wonderful introduction. And it's really a privilege to be able to serve as principal of Great Neck Elementary School. I'm really looking forward to it, and I've just learned the big shoes that I have to fill. Congratulations on your something to be very proud of, so congratulations. I'm so very appreciative of the confidence tonight. Thank you very much for that. And really going to be vision to continue the excellent work that already exists in the Great Neck community. It's going to really commit to sustaining high expectations for student achievement and really building a strong culture and climate. I know there's one that exists there already. So I'm going to look to leaders and giving a lot of advice on the clients to kind of show me around and give me some insight, and I'll be listening to that from staff as well. There was a lot of talk about teamwork, being proponent of teamwork. The job of principal is a large job. Serving children really requires a team within a team, and I'm so pleased to see the teacher leadership presentation this evening, because that is what it's about. That's how we get buy-in and really move forward. So I thank you so much, and I'm very much looking forward to the opportunity, working with a very collaborative and team-oriented administrative team. I felt very comfortable through the process, and I can attest to the fact that it was very rigorous. And I think that the number 54, I just felt how I had to take that in when we told me that the other night. So I'm very privileged to be here, and thank you very much for the warm welcome, and looking forward to getting started. And thank you for being here.
Somehow we knew that was your mom.
We're going to take a short break right now. So, anybody, if you want to go over and talk to Billy, or if anybody would like to leave, if you want to go home. Thank you for coming.
I am sorry. So I like that you're doing it.
Meeting back to order, please. Okay, item B, possible review and possible action regarding the non-renewal of long-term substitute teachers.
So as you know, we did some last month. This is a process. None of these are for performance. These are long-term subs that we can't guarantee employment for the next year.
Somebody please like to read the motion?
Motion that the Waterford Board of Education moves that the contracts of employment of Monique Dorsey and Jake Sullivan not be renewed for the following year upon the expiration at the end of the 17 school year, and that the superintendent of schools is directed to advise such persons in writing of the same.
Thank you, Commissioner. Is there a second? Okay, any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, now we're down to review possible action regarding the tag enrichment curriculum, and that was in posted in our packet.
We started this curriculum year with the following questions in mind. How can we increase the amount of students in service? And how can we expand the manner, the areas in which our students can be serviced with a good thing? So, we have background, the curriculum was last reviewed in the 11-12 school year, and it was determined to continue the focus on the science and math instruction and at the elementary level, and then moving from science and math instruction at the middle school level. Since the implementation of very rigorous Common Core, there's been a lessening need for as teachers to really work with our most precocious population in acceleration in math. So at the elementary level, working with the three tag teachers at the elementary level and the tag teacher at the middle school level, we drafted a curriculum in which we moved from supplanting math instruction to exposing students to different enrichment units, whether it be language arts, math, or technology, for grades 4 and 5, and to move up the identification process from the first trimester of grade 3 to the last trimester of grade 3, so that the teachers can really give good recommendations as far as who should be evaluated for these things. In 2015, as you may recall, if you're on the board at that time, we presented a redesign of the middle school math opportunity to phase out the geometry offering, because what we found from the high school department head of the math department, that we really, while kids could accelerate through algebra to get to geometry, they didn't really have a deep level of understanding of algebra in some areas. And so it was fraught with the backfill those concepts when they got to algebra 2. So we really moved to really getting algebra 1 being the target focus for middle school. With that in mind, in looking at the middle school offerings, we really determined that there's a small phase out that will occur next year with TAG, but then with all the enrichment opportunities that the middle school has to offer, 21 at this time, that's how we students can be accelerated and enriched in those areas. So the curriculum has the components of identification, as well as what are the types of units that they'll be doing, sample units for grade 3, and then in the back you'll see kind of how we communicate to parents and what the identification checklist that we're using in a multi-point curriculum. So with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions. We did have multiple tag teachers here. One has to leave because of this hour of the night, but we do have the Accessory here from Quaker Hill. So between Charlie and myself, we could certainly probably answer it.
Okay, does anybody have any questions? Marcia?
Do we only evaluate in grade 3?
We evaluate as early as grade 3, but then if there is a need above grade 3, we would take that on a case-by-case basis, meaning that Waterford doesn't have a lot of migration and training reasons, so if there are students who move into into our district that we identify or a parent requests it of a child who's in here, then we would certainly look to that.
What if a teacher recognized someone in 5th grade or 8th grade, or 6th grade or 8th grade or whatever?
I'm sorry, just the first
what if, rather than just 3rd grade, what if a teacher suddenly saw something outstanding, some precociousness?
So any of those recommendations, whether it is faculty recommendation or parent recommendations, we would do.
It would come at any time during their career.
But the first look for identification is at the 3rd grade level.
Right.
And once they're identified, it's really then an IEP process, because by state law we have to identify children with giftedness, and then they're on that IEP, and they don't lose that designation for the rest of their career. Historically, we have programs at the high school level where giftedness by just basically what level of classes they're taking on this grade.
They're also determined by certain, like the CMC aspect, if those test scores are extremely elevated.
So it's a multi-pronged approach, and certainly the big front of the test is the component. And then our own universal screening, which is the NWEA or MAP testing, is another component. And then it would be parent recommendations, teacher recommendations, and then because the tag teachers will also be in each of the 3rd grade classrooms, there'll also be that second evaluator too, as far as the screening. And then if someone is determined not eligible upon that first screen, there is an additional measure, which would be if a parent requested to do a re-eval, then our school psychologist would administer the WISC, which is an IQ assessment, to determine if they fit that level that we would need to get.
Now, what if they're in the later grades, like the middle school now?
If they're in the later grades, and either a faculty or parent requested, as Marcia's question was earlier, we would certainly again look at that multi-point criteria, which would be the take on the assessment, the math assessment, and then the tag teacher will do the screen. And at that point in time, again, if a parent requests a re-eval, then our school psychologist will do that same line.
So basically the accelerated math students at 7th and 8th grade that's considered the enrichment aspect of TAG. There is nothing else other than your curricular offerings where they have the right. So there's not a TAG teacher for the 7th and 8th grade?
Really, currently there is.
Okay, but in the future?
In the future, there'll be a lesson used for that, which may, in the future, allow us to reutilize then some time for intervention in that area.
Okay. So, but at the elementary, we continue to have TAG personnel teachers that actually do a pull-out program, correct? It's 2 days per 4-day rotation for 45 minutes?
Correct.
So if I was a 3rd grader, I would be with the TAG teacher 2 days every 4 days for 45 minutes?
So the model we're moving to with having the 3rd trimester is more of a push-in model, so that the TAG teachers will go into the entire 3rd grade to do some enrichment lessons.
Okay.
Of 6 to 8. Full period lessons.
Okay.
So that they can observe the whole class as a second teacher's opinion about the student's talent. And that I think is helpful. Sometimes anybody who works closely with a child may not see some of the uniqueness just because they're so close. And so we have the classroom teacher being one level, and then in this new design, the tag teacher getting in and working with the students would be a different level. After we're identifying them, then in grades 4 and 5, we would pull those students out, and we would also elect, instead of, right now our current is only pulling out tag students. So we would also then say, well, if we're pulling out for technology, who are the other precocious learners that may not be identified as talented and gifted, but really are talented in this unit of study? And then the pullout would be sort of up to 15 students in the unit of technology, mathematics, or language arts, because we know from Gardner that there is a myriad of multiple intelligence students, and while we haven't hit them all, we have expanded it from 1 to now.
It's great. The curriculum is great.
Along those same lines, so am I, in the middle school, we're really only offering math to
our current, in the elementary, that was the only note that we were also offering. And
but,
so now with the middle school, we're phasing out the planting of math. We have the accelerated track anyways, the 6th grade or the advanced,
right,
and then the 7th grade for the algebra. So that's one level of almost tracking now. And then the other level would be the myriad of enrichment opportunities which all students in the middle school have to work in.
Did we eliminate the middle school tag teacher?
We did not. So what we're going to be doing is shifting from that time to more of the intervention time, because that's really something that we've identified as the...
But should we still be calling that person the tag person?
For one more year, because there's one more cohort, right, to kind of drop and run and have a big gap.
Okay.
So yeah.
And the enrichment programs that we saw the offerings for during that take the part of the study halls and things like that, I don't recall. Are they multidiscipline?
They are. We really hit even a wider array than what we'd be able to offer at the elementary level. And for that, I mean, Jim could tell you about, but we do have art offerings, we do have science, invention, robotics, 3D printing, a lot of the
and do we have any? And we have some inquiry-based problem solving, that sort of stuff also.
Yeah, I think as the electives mature, that type of inquiry approach, which is certainly designed that you're going to hear later with the social studies that we'll really be doing.
Right.
So I think that's going to evolve nicely to that level. I can't attest today if they're all at that deep level, but I will attest, because I've seen in the classroom when this has gone on at the middle school, that they are doing some very creative things. I was at the invention one where they basically had a problem and they had, whether it was Legos or other things to build a solution, which is the essence of it.
And you don't have to qualify for that. Everybody should.
Yeah.
So, but if a child is in the accelerated math program in the middle school, they are not necessarily able to have tag at that point in time. Like through the whole IEP process.
But not all of them. That would be correct. So, by law, we have to identify tag, but how we program is really up to the district. And so we're thinking that this opens up the opportunities for all students who may have an area that they want to go deep in, which does validate kind of Gardner's book.
Does the group of districts to identify all of them if they are on the accelerated program, or is it not going to be? In other words, people want from 3rd grade who got up to 8th grade and then have their other...
So the tagging education is really a component of special education, where the thought behind this curriculum is any student who has the ability and the desire to go deep in an area, that let's not have just an IQ limit of that, because we can't measure all areas of business
So I understand well, because you mentioned it in here that you believe that by elevating the math standards from the Common Core, that this has really moved some of our tech students to another level. And I just want to have a little better understanding.
Prior to the implementation of individual math Common Core, 2010, 2011 school year, I believe. Then we did, in say 2004, tag curriculum renewal back then. Sue Rosenfield and I worked on that. We were finding that classroom teachers were struggling trying to keep precocious math learners engaged because our curriculum really at a certain level. And now with the Common Core, we're going much deeper. It's a much more rigorous curriculum for all, so that we're not having that problem now, which will allow us to really expand, because we knew that back then the design flaw is that we're only getting one modality of physics. And this design is really expanded. And so while the district still struggles with some intervention students from that, the district is not struggling with keeping the most precocious learners engaged in that. And to echo the presentation that Lawrence did, I think a lot of our teachers are using different technology tools like Khan Academy and other district software to really enrich and engage and deepen students' math.
That's what I was just going to mention. I think with the advent of blended learning environments and online resources and technology, as well as our math coaches working with our math teachers hand in hand every day, the ability to reach those higher level learners has certainly changed since 2011. So,
my concern is that we stretch math. I want to see it broadened into everything, especially literature and reading and all that, as well as science and inquiry. Did we use any protocols, for instance, the Zooey programs or anything like that when we designed the enrichment units for the elementary school?
So we've looked at the Zooey, William and Mary's in Maryland, and also a strong business component for when you see the M3, which is the M2, that's one of the William and Mary resources. So we've looked at both. The tag features felt that the time frame.
That's what the M3 is?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was kind of the resources that
they preferred those. That's fine. I just was wondering what they used as a format.
I'm happy that the middle school is offering other enrichment programs because, math and science and everything is important, but we have students that are artists that want to do that, and also leadership. I was hoping that maybe down the road we can maybe hone in on leadership too, because it's so important. It's so sorely lacking everywhere.
We have two courses that right now we decide science explorers, and we're looking into community service electives.
That's great.
We have a lot of interesting things in there.
That's good. It's very good. And I'm very impressed with your curriculum. I know it was a lot of hard work because...
Well, not just mine, it's really a feature.
No, I know. Well, I remember when David Title was still here and we tried to put the CAD program together. We spent months and we read so many books. And what I got out of it is that every child is talented and gifted in something, and it's our responsibility to find what that talent is and bring it out, make them feel good about themselves. So that's why I'm glad you're offering a wide array of different enrichment programs, at least at Clark Lane. So thank you.
Now that I know what the M3 stands for in the elementary part that we've got all included here, that's okay. But I'm hoping that when we design our enrichment courses at the middle school, that they have something to go on, and it's not just something composed by a teacher, which is fine, can be great. But they should be looking at some standards too, especially if they're going to meet the criteria of really challenging the children.
That's a great point.
It can't but just be a fun class. It's got to be more than that.
Absolutely.
Okay, in my opinion.
There is a slight distinction within middle school in that teachers are doing that in lieu of a duty, so it's not one of their core teaching responsibilities, whereas at the elementary school with the 3 enrichment teachers, it's part of their core work. It's part of their job. So it is a slightly different model at the middle school in that teachers are doing it really as an extra.
Are they getting a grade for it? Are the children getting graded?
Well, for instance, our robotics class was taught by a gentleman who was an engineer, who's been here for 20 years, and we researched a lot of different products, and so yes, there's not a formal robotics curriculum, but we study all sorts of things, all sorts of
Is
products.
he a certified teacher?
Oh yeah, he's
Oh,
okay.
He's
He's an engineer with an engineering background, and so he has problems with capabilities robots from scratch. And you wouldn't probably be able to tell the difference between that class and something that kind of he designed for, but I understand your point.
And there should be accountability as far as students should be graded in.
They're great.
They are. So, okay.
Anything else? Okay, would someone please like to make the motion to adopt the CAD enrichment curriculum for the grade 2 will present it, I'm sorry. Okay, Amanda?
I make a motion that the Waterford Board of Education approves and adopts the CAD enrichment curriculum for grades 3 through 8 as presented.
Is there a second? Craig? Any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The motion carries unanimously.
Yeah, really.
Okay, now we're down to review and possible action regarding our K-6 social studies curriculum, and that was enclosed in our packet.
Yes.
And so, while I know the water finder is intimidating,
Oh no, it's great. Great night reading.
It was.
the K through 6 teachers have been working now for 2 years on an inquiry focus for social studies, which supports to the national framework and the Connecticut. As you see in the memo, there's 4 areas of history: physics, economics, geography, and history itself. There's a primary focus in each one, and then the other areas are kind of supporting details. And so we work with a consultant from Rome and then Quebec on this curriculum with high-level social studies expertise. And we've given you kind of the classic curriculum, but then we've also included that we're going to, do a deep dive on the units of study because we need a design choice, not do a textbook adoption, not just by someone else's fault. And to make that choice means that from a coherent point of view, we really need to make health very strong. We really need to provide teachers the guidance and unpack the curriculum a little bit more with the units so that there'll be a high fidelity. Teachers will feel comfortable in knowing how to operationalize the curriculum, and it would be kind of like what the teacher's manual would have been if we did a textbook adoption. I'm very proud that we have designed our own. We've integrated.
You should be proud.
It's beautiful work.
Thank you.
It is.
I was really impressed.
Me too.
And I have to say, I've seen that we did it in grade 5, did industrialization make life better or worse for everyone in New England. I saw some of the results of that when I've been in the building. And the kids really got into it, whether they were whether they were assigned the pro part of it or the con part of it. And they really, nothing like learning by having to debate something.
What's scary is I looked at some of those older pictures.
I like that they had the town government piece in there too.
Yeah, it's excellent.
And so we've also to really make it so that it's seamless with our reading and learning workshop.
Yeah, I can see that. That's all.
It's not really becoming time.
Yeah, right.
We did a pilot this year because we wanted to continue to sell it strong to give the teachers try a bit to make sure that everything was set. We then got feedback from the teachers through online surveys as well as the community asking the grade at their grade level what they felt. We did some tweaks this year to make sure that we're really providing the best resource possible for our staff. You will see after the memo the different instructional materials where there's a lot of nonfiction classroom library books which really support great learning at the elementary level.
Do we have the library books already?
We will be on approval tonight purchasing them. We did buy some material for the classroom libraries to conduct a full pilot this year, but these then would even strengthen the curriculum.
And field trips too.
I was just going to get that, Marcia. So you've also, it's been many years.
We're just so excited about it. I think it's fine.
It's awesome. A dozen years we've had to kind of not fund field trips at the board level, at the elementary. The committee really works hard to say what experiences, whether they be a physical field trip or the virtual field trip, to really then engage the students in that kind of inquiry approach to learning social studies. So it's not just a memorization of facts. Certainly that's important to know the facts, but it's more important to understand the why and to learn, as Marcia helped me earlier by having to take a position in debate, craft and art in elementary. So that's what we have. The middle school also works too, so the students in sixth grade. We purposely included sixth grade in this work because for 7 through 12, when we did that 2 years ago now, personal adoption, the units were pretty much the same as they always were, so it was easy for the teachers, they had that deep mastery of the content, to shift to the inquiry approach, where with sixth grade, we really did reshape the content as well. And that's why we wanted to give the sixth grade team, again, a full year to pilot it and refine the unit and that looks good.
I loved how it started off pack your bags for the sixth graders and they could travel the world. So, I mean, that was great. Any other questions or comments?
I have a question about the field trips. I like that they're listed at each grade level, so that you don't have someone just kind of go to Mystic Seaport at the third grade and the kids say, oh, we did that last year, kind of. Are they optional
What
for the teacher?
I would like to do is use curricular money this year to fund these field trips, and then what I would ask the board to consider is to reinstate a line to each elementary school for field trips so that it's an assured experience. Because right now, while our PTA, PTOs, OSOs are very supportive, it's not affording us an assured experience for all students at grade level.
Yeah, like I wouldn't want somebody from Quaker Hill to go and Great Neck not.
Right.
Just, you know what I mean?
I delicately worded it as these are the field trips that are aligned.
Okay.
I don't want to be presumptuous that the board would fund it in the future. That's really up to you. But I kind of stated the reasons why, and we can figure out the dollar amount.
And we have so many of these right here in Connecticut. We have the Noah Webster House and West Hartford. The Markstein Memorial wasn't listed though. I love that place. And the old State House. Yeah, the old State House.
State House was listed.
Yeah.
We really look at what experiences really added value to the curriculum unit. So we do have a wealth of history in Connecticut. These particular ones, the teachers in themselves really would add value to the students' knowledge, depth of knowledge in the different things.
And are they going to visit Plymouth in one of the, for the field trip?
Something that we would afford through the curriculum money this year, and then hopefully, honor it.
Because when my children went, all four of them went when they were in the 4th or 5th grade, and they loved it, and they really brought back a lot from that.
Nothing like curriculum-related field trips.
That's right.
Especially when they're aligned.
That's exactly right.
Related to this work, to draw a link, and I know not everybody has served on the strategic planning committee, but one of the things we had to do in that process was to define the skills and attributes of a successful graduate. Mm-hmm. Some of those are to look at multiple sources of information, to draw an argument based on what you read. I think you're seeing that link all the way down to the third level in a document like this. So when you see that strategic planning document, hopefully by the end of June, you're going to see those parallels with some of those skills and attributes embedded in documents like this. It's exciting work.
Anybody else? Thanks.
We are looking at it from one know what facts, information, but because the issues all over the place.
I would say that at the elementary level, really is building those foundational skills. So, there are some units that maybe focuses on economy as a major idea, and then you're learning the history and geography around it. If that was a K-12 curriculum, I would better understand your vision. I do feel that the secondary level really does go deep into very discrete areas. But I respect your point.
Except that, when you're talking about the local government, instead of having a sense of citizenship, well, again, it's the guidance. I think they did a great job doing what they were supposed to do.
Excuse me, I respectfully disagree with you. It starts with good citizenship right in kindergarten. That's what you hone in on starting in kindergarten, which is so important. And you have rules and values, how important the school community is, the changing family life. And I could see where parents can get involved a lot with this curriculum because the kids will probably go home and ask, their parents how it was when they were younger. And I see a lot of value in this. I really do.
I think it teaches a process too. As Thomas said, not just to look at one source. It's more of a process approach, an inquiry approach. And if you wanted just the facts, in our technology world of today, you can ask Siri anything. And you don't have to worry about knowing exactly all those things, although it is...
Well, I do think there is a secondary level structure, so I do understand what
I definitely understand the thinking that you need to capture the student first, make things relevant, make them so they can see and understand why they're learning and what it's about. So I tend to disagree a little bit with you also, Greg, that I think that's what this person does. It forces our students away from just memorizing and learning facts, but it actually has them participate in it and try to live it a little bit, particularly on the local level, and choosing areas throughout Connecticut that are relevant and that they tie into the system. I think is excellent. So I see it as moving our students into a whole other direction, really forcing them to think about how these things occurred and why they occurred, and to support their answers with additional questioning. So think you do capture that it goes along with what we're trying to do with encouraging our students to be critical thinkers. Just so that I did go through it in a cursory fashion. I'd like to be able to go back and really look at it even in more depth, because I think it has some very good questions.
Anything else? Okay. Would somebody please make a motion to approve the social studies curriculum for the grades K through 6? Anybody?
Flip to my cheat sheet. I will make the motion. Okay. That the Waterford Board of Education approves and adopts the curriculum for social studies for grades K through 6.
Is there a second? Second. Any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? And motion carries unanimously.
All the teachers, certainly one of the teachers in the room, Jen Raddick, worked on the committee.
Thank you, Jen.
Jen, thank you.
Really beautiful job.
2 years and one summer to get this done. So thank you.
Of course.
I found it really exciting to do it this time, how we did it 2 years. At first I was like, that's a lot of time, and I was worried about that. But I think it was probably one of the most important things, because we worked really hard at making all of our lessons and inquiries and doing all of that, and then it was perfect to go back in the classroom and teach it. And then we would get together a month later and we would tweak what we just wrote. And you would think, since I wrote it with my partners, that it would be what we thought it would be, and we did some things, we thought, oh, this added this, add that, or we did that something and it flopped a little bit, or it wasn't exactly, so we tweaked it. So I think we are all more proud of our work because it's already tweaked and such. So, although it was different when we first started, we thought, oh, I don't know about this stuff, but I think it's really great for the teachers. So I was thinking too that would be a really neat thing to do. They're definitely better than what they would have been.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. Okay, now we're down to item E, review and approval of textbook adoption civics.
So last month's meeting, we did initial notification of the Government Alive textbook, which is behind Fred on the cabinet. The teachers have done the policy review of textbook reviews. I have no questions or welcome to approval.
Is there any questions or comments? Okay, would someone please like to make the motion to approve the textbook, Government Alive, Power, Politics, and You, as proposed to support the civics and American government curriculum?
I will. That the Waterford Board of Education approves the textbook Government Alive's Power, Politics, and You as proposed to support the civics and American government curriculum.
Is there a second? Marcia? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, motion carried unanimously. Now we're down to the Waterford High School. I'm sorry, Kathy.
Director perspective, I think for Waterford School District does a good job about keeping government alive and fast. To the Capitol tomorrow.
Oh, good. That's great.
I think there'll be more students the following week with technology coming up again. So I think it's relevant to textbook will go along with the practice.
That's great.
See the budget process in it.
Still get an eyeful, definitely.
Thank you.
The governor's in action. Now down to Waterford, class of 2017 graduation date. That was enclosed. Tom enclosed our board policy 6111.
It's a policy matter. Requires the board to approve a graduation date. I'm pretty sure we're beyond snow day, so.
Don't say that. You're jinxing us. Yeah, we do.
Okay, so we're going to set it for June 15th?
No, the 16th.
16th, okay.
You want me to read it?
Yeah, sure.
All right. That the Board of Education sets the graduation date for the Waterford High School class of 2017 as June 16, 2017.
Is there a second? Okay. Amanda, is there any discussion? We don't have to approve the Park Lane graduation. Okay. 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 All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, motion carried unanimously. Okay, now we're down to item G, recommendation and appointment of new board member to the Ad Hoc Community Use of Schools Committee, and that was enclosed. Mim, you want to do it?
No.
Then I'll back you up.
No. You do it and I'll back you up. I think you should be.
Okay.
Cause
Do you want to?
I mean, I've had some history with that from the RTM side. It's fine. If you want it, that's okay.
We've all had some history with it.
Yeah. Well, we had a meeting one other time. The same kind of thing got everyone together.
Did you get anywhere?
Why is there only one Board of Ed member on this?
Yeah, that's how they proposed it. We could all attend the meeting, though. I mean, we just have to appoint someone. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we could still go. So,
That's why I think because of your work with youth services, you should be appointed, and Craig and I will go for moral support, because I think we're going to need it.
Whatever you want to do, it's fine.
okay.
Or can you appoint
I'm so excited about it.
Yeah, I will. Is that all right? Is that okay with the two of you? I'll ask if we can have more people on.
Absolutely.
Whatever you
All
want
right,
to do.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Rich Muckle's in charge. He's easy to talk to.
It's an ad hoc committee of RTM.
Other than,
It's
even
one
though
member.
it has to
The
be-
ad hoc, yeah, the RTM is already.
Right.
The makeup of the
A never-ending issue.
The makeup of the committee is one member from the Board of Selectmen, one member from the Board of Ed, 2 members of RTM. Superintendent of Schools, Town Director of Finance, Board Director of Finance, 1 member from the Board of Finance, and the Parks and Rec Director. That's the makeup of the committee as of today.
Well, that's just a pretty thorough group there.
Well,
Was that like the last one you were on?
More or less.
More or less. And how long ago was that? Do you remember?
He's like 2 years ago.
Okay.
I remember it from when Dr. Patnack was still superintendent.
Well, there's just a lot of confusion around what it is
There is.
and what it does and how it works.
Yeah. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm interested in it, but I can go to the, Craig, I mean, if you want to go on.
That's fine.
Because I could.
Yeah.
All right, we'll appoint Craig.
Yeah.
And then I'll just attend the meeting when they decide they're going to have them. Is that all right with everybody?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll notify the town clerk on your behalf.
Okay. Now we're down to second reading and possible action of policies. Craig? I'm sorry.
There was so much here.
So the second reading is the community relations non-discrimination at work plea tonight was kind of a response to a question that was asked at the last meeting. If people have not had time to thoroughly read that, we could table this for another night. If you'd like me to kind of summarize it, I could do that instead.
What's the board's pleasure? Did you read it?
From the policy committee, I can tell you it's pretty straightforward. So, I mean, if you wish to read through it all, but we did discuss it at policy committee, and it's pretty cut and dry. There's not much wiggle room there.
Okay, so would someone like to make the motion that we approve it? If there's any more discussion?
I'll make that motion. Do I
Is there
need
a
to read?
second?
Do I
Policy one.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Where, let me go back.
Down later.
Okay, all right. That the Board of Education approves and adopts policy 1101, non-discrimination, as presented and amended.
Is there a second? Lisa? Okay, any more discussion? Kathleen?
Craig, would you mind just going over, I know I heard what Marcia said, but highlight some of the,
So this policy really is more than just the Board of Ed, as we made it contemplated last month. It's really around community members, parents, members of the public, it really is to protect the non-academic programs, because the other policies are really the academic programs within the schools. So that would be extracurricular, parent volunteer opportunities, athletic events. Most laws, as I said, don't really touch the general public. The Waterford Board of Ed is required to abide by the requirements under these laws, not only for the students and employees, but community members as well, which would include public events such as plays and concerts. And then, you can see on page 2, the second paragraph, there was a question around what was the reason necessity for the policy, and there has, the law has an increase in the amount of complaints by members of the public around accessibility to school district programs and operations. So, for those reasons, we think that one could say the duplication of this policy in a different theory would be wrong.
Okay. All right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, first reading of policies. Craig, you want to just go over these?
Absolutely. So the first one is policy 4121, substitute teachers. We mentioned one word, that is why.
Big word.
By including the word certified, we are basically saying that in order to move to a GA Step 1 on a 40th day, basically the law around that contemplates that the teacher has union rights to that position. And so there are some areas for which it is near impossible to find a certified teacher as a substitute in that area. So I think it's like training in the county. It's impossible to find again, let alone a substitute. That if we find a teacher that's not certified in that area for long-term trial, they would get the normal theory grade. But they wouldn't elevate to that step 1 after the 40th day because they're not certification.
Clarification.
Yeah.
So for that one, I'm just going to pause for a first reading because that's not statutorily mandated. The second policy is policy 5114, student discipline. So this one really is statutorily mandated. Legal counsel references, removing references of obsolete technology, making some minor changes. So you can see in the 26-page policy, which is the letter A through D, that there are minor changes in pages A, G, F, D, and W, as well as the last two pages, 1 and 2, for the references. This one, the board could contemplate taking action.
I'd like to make a motion that policy series 5114
Through Z.
through the case in that you approve.
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Anybody opposed? The motion carried unanimously.
Thank you. The next one is student area of attendance policy 5117. Technically, we're bringing this back to the prior to 2009 policy construct. And the reason why is that when we contemplated this policy in 2009, it was to stave off the migration from the Friendship School to kindergarten. That was fraught with some problematic issues because it's a magnet school and because of our current arrangement with the Friendship School just being a regional magnet as opposed to just a collaboration between the London and Waterford. We thought it appropriate to bring our policy back to that region. That one was the first reading because it's not statutory.
Okay. And then policy 5125.
correct on student records, and these revisions are statutorily mandated requirements reflected in the Student Privacy Act, which is a law instituted last year, and additional language provided by guidance for the Office of Civil Rights. And so you can, if you have to answer any questions you may have on those.
Any questions or comments on this policy? I think we went over it pretty well, policy. Someone like to make the motion tonight then to adopt it?
I will make a move that the Board of Ed accepts policy 5125 as written.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any more discussion? And all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The motion carried unanimously. Now we're down to policy 5131.2.
What is known as the acceptable use policy, and other than the statutory references for the policy section change, the only other section is really within the resolution, and it's on the yellow sheet, letter G, around having students and or their parents sign off computer system agreement.
We can take action tonight. Okay.
Does the board like to take action tonight?
Sure.
Okay. Amanda?
Sure. That the Waterford Board of Education approves and adopts policy number 5131.2, student use of the district computer systems, or otherwise known as the acceptable use policy, as presented in the minutes.
Okay. Thanks, Marcia. Okay. Any more discussion? Okay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The motion carried unanimously. Now we're down to policy 5131.3.
So the changes to our BYOU policy are also really around activities that constitute unauthorized recording have been expanded, and this is really what legal counsel is suggesting, as well as some technical.
You want a motion?
Yep. Okay. Is that all right with the board? We'll vote on it tonight. Okay. Can I have a motion to accept policy, please?
I move that we adopt policy 5131.3, use of private technology devices by students, BYOD, as stated.
Is there a second? Lisa? Okay. Any more discussion? Okay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The motion carried unanimously.
So, this one is policy 5155, or student privacy policy. This one has made some revisions in what's included in federal law. And clearly defines what is personal identifiable information, which comports with the student data privacy law that was recently adopted.
Is there any discussion on this? Does the board want to?
Yeah.
Okay. Who'd like to make the motion?
I'll make the motion that the Board of Education accept and adopt the revised student privacy policy 5155A through F and the appendix.
Is there a second? Lisa? Okay. Any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, unanimous. Okay, Series 6000 Instruction Policy 6114, Security and Safety Plan.
And so, we are moving the security and safety plan to the 1000 series because it's really kind of an instructional item as it was around kind of the community. This policy updates the state positions at Board of Education on how you develop individual school safety plans or one global safety plan with appendix for each school. Our safety plan, as you know, is the latter, and this clarity is now provided by the state level, I think, primarily because we were the first ones to really do that, and the state studies. So
we have a lot of good
ideas. Could take action.
I'd like to move policy 6114, security and safety plan, as presented from the Series 6000 construction. Did I read it correctly? Two.
To community relations.
To community relations.
Is there a second? Amanda? No, let's get started. Any more discussion?
Just that I was labeling it for 1 and 2.
Yeah, that should be in the motion.
Okay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carried unanimously. And now, we have to go into executive session. Would someone please like to make a... Oh, first of all, before we go, thank you all for coming. And it's nice seeing all of you. And we have a policy meeting Monday, correct? Yeah. Okay. We'll have more policies for you next meeting.
Yeah, you guys are really doing a great job.
Well, Craig's a good leader, and then Tom comes to the meetings too, so it's good we have both perspectives. Okay, can I have a motion, please, to go into executive session? I'm sorry. Kathleen? And invite...
The motion, because we're inviting people in.
Okay. I'd like to make, can somebody please make the motion that the Washington Board of Education moves to executive session at 7:43 p.m. and invites Mr. Giard, Mr. Powers, and Mr. Brad Columbus, principal of Three Rivers Middle College, for the purpose of discussion concerning a confidential student matter. Kathleen, is there a second? Amanda? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, motion carries.
I want you to come up here.